So this is how the Metaphysics Fall 2020 class will take place. Now in terms of why the class is remote, and if you've gone into iRattler, the course still has a time, but the location is remote. And the obvious answer as to why is because of the pandemic. So what's the difference between remote versus electronic? You might have other classes that are listed as like HB for hybrid or E for electronic, and you may be wondering, so what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. With remote classes, the administration has decided that the classes have to meet at these scheduled times. So I have to be virtually available during those times. Whereas in an electronic class, you would have the option of having it asynchronous, which basically means you can show up any time to get the content and do things, versus synchronous, where you have to show up at particular times. So the course is remote in the sense that it still is a specified scheduled time at which I must be there. So what about you being there? And virtually speaking, of course. Now, in terms of the class content, I'll be providing the content for this course through the usual readings. And for this course, it's a free PDF available on Canvas. And I make it available because free is good. And it's able to be free because the works in it are either public domain, because the people who wrote it are super dead, or released to the public domain, or I actually own the rights to it and hence can use it. It's the same stuff you'd get in a book you'd paid for, except of course it's free and PDF. There's also the notes available for download on Canvas, which detail all the stuff, which are essentially cut down versions of the readings. I'll also be creating YouTube videos, essentially recording the lectures I would be given. And the advantage of this is, even though I have no real filmmaking skills, otherwise I'd be a Hollywood filmmaker, making big movies for Disney or something. But anyways, get back on track. I'll create these with the content in them, so that way you can have access to the class content. So there'll be the readings, normal stuff, notes, normal stuff, and YouTube videos. Also kind of normal. So what about the actual class meetings? Well, it'll obviously be through Zoom, because that's what we're doing these days, not in person. They'll take place during the normal course time, which is 3:35 to 4:25 p.m., Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Holidays, of course, other like perhaps meetings that are scheduled during those times that I must attend, they all still apply. And I'll do announcements and so forth if things do interfere with the class. So what is the content of the meeting is going to be? Well, rather than just, lecture at you, the main thing the Zoom classes will do is this. Mainly aimed at what Zoom is kind of good for, which is give you a chance to, ask me questions that require, some interaction, rather than if you don't want to do email, or if it's something you want to discuss more at length and have more interaction, and also whatever discussion you might wish to have, essentially questions and discussion as needed. They won't be lectures. Why not? Well, from a purely practical standpoint, laying aside all concerns about, effective teaching and so forth, there's a problem of connection issues. ISP failures. I have Comcast. Comcast fails, but, well, occasionally, yes, it fails occasionally. So the time could roll about when class is to start, and boom, Comcast is down. Or as happened before, I've had the cable connection run over the lawnmower, not my own, someone else's, and then it's down, and then it's out for quite a while. Depending on what sort of ISP you have, you may experience failures as well. Second, the issue of technology. You may not have reliable access to a computer. You may just have, say, a phone or an iPad or something, and whenever you have to do extensive stuff, you have to go to a library or someplace to access this. And this way you don't have to guarantee that you have the technology that's working and accessible at that time. You can take the class at your convenience. And Zoom can, interestingly enough, failed today. And so Zoom can obviously fail. And if class is scheduled and Zoom goes out, class is out. But YouTube is pretty much always there. And of course, there are issues of, life in general. And since this is Florida, power failures, hurricanes, etc. And so there are many more challenges trying to keep an online class, going, remotely, and make sure that, everything is working on my end, everything is working on your end, etc. Again, the administration expects me to be there Monday, Wednesday, Friday, 3:35 to 4:25, excluding holidays for the semester. But the content won't be me lecturing at you through Zoom. It'll be primarily for questions and discussion. And so the actual content will be provided through, again, notes, readings, YouTube. So what about attendance? What does it even mean in the context of, a remote class? Well, essentially it'll work like this. Completing coursework. The first attendance will be completing the syllabus quiz. And essentially, once you take that quiz, which is about the syllabus, I'll look at it, check that, each day regularly. Once you've taken it, boom, you're marked down as attending. It's an easy way to do that and provides an objective, measure of attendance and when you've attended. So what about last attendance? Now, last attendance primarily matters for the distinction between a W and WF. F and WF. The idea between failing and walking away failing. And the way I'll measure this is the last work completed in the course, the date for that. So if someone completes the final, December 4th, and they get, a failing grade in the class, then their last day attended would be December 4th. So it'd be presumably an F instead of a WF. If the last thing someone did was, say, the syllabus quiz on August 24th, and they failed the course, that would be a WF. You really don't have to worry about last attendance if you're in that FWF, concern. But that's the way attendance will be taken, virtually. So then what is the penalty for not showing up at a Zoom class? And the answer is nothing. Because, again, Zoom can go out, ISPs can go out, your computer can crash, my computer can crash, my ISP can go out, thousands upon thousands of things can go wrong. And so there is no special penalty for not showing up at the Zoom class. Again, I'll always be there, barring technological problems, but there is no penalty for not showing up. So if you miss a class because your ISP is down or your computer is not working properly or something happens, essentially don't worry about it. There'll be no penalty for that. The main thing is, in terms of how your grade's going to work, is are you completing the coursework and are you doing passing work? And if the answer is yes, you're completing the work and it's passing, and you complete all the work and it's all passing, then you pass. And because of things are super strange now, I'm of course happy to work with you to ensure that things go well. So that's essentially how the course will be conducted. And my main concern is not, pedantically and tediously keeping track of every attendance and, trying to, run the class incredibly strictly. My main goal is to provide you with the best quality education we can provide and you can receive under these circumstances, and to help you progress in your education, to move on with success, however you're defining it, in life. So my goal is to work with you to ensure that things go well, as opposed to being really obsessed about all the minutia and tracking. So stay safe, and I'll see you in the future.